The Season 5, Episode 2, we uncover the layers of deception, the tangled web of alliances, and the consequences that come when everything you thought you knew is challenged. Get ready. This story isn't what you expected. The sun sets over the city, casting long shadows on the cobbled streets, but it's not the fall of night that weighs heavy on everyone's mind. No, it's the feeling that something is about to break. Something big, something that no one can control. You see, all along, there's been a quiet tension in the air. Something unspoken, a feeling that people have been dancing around but not daring to address. This tension, as it turns out, isn't just in the air. It's in the hearts of those closest to the truth. And in this world, when you play with fire for too long, it always burns. The stage is set, but the characters are fractured. Trust has become a currency that's in short supply. Every word spoken now is carefully weighed, every action measured. Secrets, once hidden deep in the shadows, are creeping out into the light. And the ones who thought they could control the story, well, they're about to find out that control is a lie. The consequences of past decisions, decisions that were thought to be long buried, are suddenly surfacing. And when they do, everything changes. As we dive into this episode, one thing is clear. What we're seeing is just the surface. The real story? It's buried deep, beneath layers of lies, hidden truths, and the kind of choices that can either save or destroy you. Everyone is walking a tightrope. Some are trying to steady themselves, others are looking for the chance to push someone off. This is a moment where no one can hide anymore. You can feel the pressure building, tightening with every passing second. And then, the moment arrives. What was once a whisper is now a scream. It's happening, right in front of them, right in front of us. And there's no going back. The stakes have never been higher, and with every choice, the risk becomes greater. Who can be trusted? And more importantly, who's been playing everyone all along? This is only the beginning. More to the story is about to flip everything you thought you knew on its head. The calm before the storm is over. The chaos is about to begin. The first crack appears quietly, almost imperceptibly. It's a conversation, a passing remark, a seemingly insignificant moment that no one expects will matter. But it does. It always does. It's the kind of thing you don't notice until it's too late, like a tiny thread pulled at the fabric of a tapestry. At first, it seems harmless, but once it's tugged, it starts to unravel everything. It all begins when the smallest of doubts creeps into the minds of those who thought they had everything figured out. The people who believed they controlled the narrative, who thought they were steps ahead of everyone else, are now starting to question their own position. Was it all a lie? How much of what they thought was true was just smoke and mirrors? The weight of this realization is heavier than any of them can bear. And for some, that weight is too much to handle. The trust they once held in each other begins to crumble. Alliances that were once ironclad are suddenly shaky, fragile as glass. Old wounds are reopened, ones that were buried under the surface for far too long. Betrayals that were once forgiven now rise to the surface with a vengeance. Everyone is playing a game now, a game with no rules. The truth is no longer black and white. It's a murky gray, with everyone trying to claim their version of what's real. As the tension builds, the sense of urgency becomes impossible to ignore. People are scrambling, trying to put the pieces back together, but it's clear this story isn't one that can be fixed with a few quick words or empty promises. The lies have woven themselves too deeply into the fabric of everyone's lives. The truth, once revealed, won't just shake their world. It will shatter it. And yet, no one is willing to back down. Not yet. In the heart of the storm, the question becomes, who's behind the strings? Who's pulling them? As the pieces begin to fall into place, the realization hits like a punch to the gut. Some of the most trusted individuals in the group have been playing their own game all along. The web of lies is more intricate than anyone imagined, and the stakes are far higher than anyone could have prepared for. And then, the bombshell drops. A revelation so devastating, so unexpected, it changes everything. What once seemed like a mere crack in the surface turns out to be a chasm, wide and deep. The people who thought they could escape the fallout, they're about to get caught in the very web they thought they had control over. Every move, every word, every choice from here on out will be a calculated risk. The truth is out there now, But it's not the truth they thought they knew. And with it comes a storm that's far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. At some point, the weight becomes unbearable. The tension, the lies, the constant feeling that everything is just one wrong move away from falling apart. It's too much for anyone to carry. And that's when it happens. The breaking point. When the fragile mask everyone has been wearing slips, and the truth comes rushing to the surface like a flood. No more hiding, no more pretending. Everything that has been held back for so long spills over in a chaotic, uncontrollable rush. The people who were once sure of their convictions, who thought they knew where they stood, are now lost in a sea of uncertainty. The walls they built to protect themselves are crumbling, and with every piece that falls, the floodwaters rise higher. They've been lying to themselves for so long that they've started to believe their own deceptions. But now, the lies are catching up with them, and there's nowhere left to run. It's in these moments, when everything is on the line, that the real faces of the characters emerge. The ones who have been hiding in plain sight, the ones who seem the most trustworthy, the most dependable, turn out to be the very ones with the most to hide. And then, the truth cuts through the lies like a knife. Those who thought they could manipulate the situation to their advantage find themselves staring at the very mess they've created. Their power, their control, the things they thought they could use to stay ahead, all of it slips through their fingers, leaving nothing but a bitter taste of regret. The trust that was so carefully cultivated begins to erode in a matter of seconds. The shockwaves are immediate. People turn on each other. Old friendships are torn apart by betrayal. Every word is now suspect. Every action is scrutinized. The games people have been playing, the manipulation, the double-crossing, it's all laid bare for the world to see. The facade that everyone has been hiding behind is gone, and in its place is the raw, ugly reality of who they really are. And then, just when it seems like everything might collapse under its own weight, one person decides they've had enough. They've been pushed to the edge, and in a moment of defiance, they make a choice that changes everything. It's not a choice anyone expected, not a move anyone saw coming. In an instant, they throw their loyalty to the wind and take matters into their own hands. The power shifts again, and this time it's clear. There's no going back. The others, scrambling to regain control, now face an impossible situation. They've been outplayed, outsmarted, and now they must deal with the fallout of their own decisions. The people they thought they could manipulate, they've now become the ones in control. What was once a game of strategy and power is now a game of survival. And survival, it's not guaranteed. As the dust settles, one thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again. What seemed like a world of endless possibilities is now a battlefield, and the only thing left to do is fight for whatever's left of the empire they've spent so long trying to build. But even as they prepare for the inevitable clash, they know one thing for sure: no one is walking away unscathed. The breaking point has come, and from here, there's no turning back. The air is thick with the weight of what's to come, and the truth is a heavy burden that no one can ignore any longer. The stakes have been raised beyond comprehension, and the time for playing it safe is over. The decisions made in the heat of the moment now echo louder than any words could. Every player in this story has crossed a line, and there's no hiding from the consequences anymore. What seemed like calculated moves in the beginning now feels more like reckless abandon. Each action, each calculated betrayal now has a price, and the bill is about to come due. One by one, the lies are starting to crumble under their own weight. What was once buried beneath the surface, hidden from view, is now emerging in full force. The ones who thought they could control the narrative are realizing just how out of their depth they've become. They thought they were playing the game, but in reality, the game was playing them all along. And now, with every secret uncovered, the walls close in tighter. There's nowhere left to hide, no more half-truths, no more illusions of control. And then comes the confrontation, the moment where all the hidden anger, the built-up resentment, the years of manipulation and deceit come to a head. It's not just a battle of words anymore, it's a battle of wills. The tension between those who are standing their ground and those who are scrambling to salvage whatever they can is palpable. There's no room for mercy now, no room for second chances. Everyone is fighting for their survival, and they know that any weakness will be exploited without hesitation. But as the dust settles, something unexpected begins to emerge. Amidst the chaos, a new understanding forms. It's not about winning anymore, it's about what happens after the dust has settled. Because the truth is, the world they knew is gone. The foundation has cracked, and what was once built on lies and manipulation is now a fractured shell of its former self. Those who survive the reckoning will have to rebuild from nothing. And rebuilding, it's not as simple as picking up the pieces. It's about facing the wreckage head-on, confronting the consequences of every action, and finding a way to move forward, no matter how painful it may be. The reckoning isn't just about what happens in the moment. It's about the long, brutal road ahead. The emotional scars, the fractured relationships, the broken trust, it's all part of the fallout. The players who thought they were invincible, they've learned the hardest lesson of all. That power, when abused, always comes with a price. Now, they have to live with the aftermath of their choices. But it's not over yet. The consequences are still unfolding, and the true cost of everything that's happened is far from clear. The world is watching, waiting to see who will rise from the wreckage and who will be left behind. The reckoning is just the beginning, and what happens next will define everything. It's a moment of truth, one that no one can escape. And as the dust continues to settle, one thing remains certain. No one is walking away from this without paying the price. The storm has passed, but its echoes reverberate through every corner of this broken world. The aftermath is not just about the physical wreckage, the fractured alliances, or the shattered facades. It's the deeper, quieter kind of damage, the kind that seeps into your soul and changes you in ways you never imagined. For those left standing, the victory feels hollow. The price of survival was far steeper than anyone anticipated, and the path forward is shrouded in uncertainty. It's not about rebuilding what was lost. It's about figuring out who you are now, in the wake of everything that's been broken. The players who thought they were untouchable, the ones who believed they had all the answers, now find themselves standing at the edge of a new world. A world where trust is a currency that no one can afford, and where every step forward feels like walking on shards of glass. The weight of betrayal hangs heavy in the air, and the faces of those they once relied on are now masks of distrust. In this world, loyalty is a fragile thing, easily broken, easily lost. And the ones who've been left behind, they've learned that survival doesn't always mean winning. Sometimes it means learning to live with the consequences of your actions and accepting the fact that there's no way to undo what's been done. But even in the wreckage, there's a sense of something more. Something bigger than just survival. For those who have endured the storm, there's a glimmer of clarity in the chaos. A realization that the game they were playing was never truly about power, about control, or even about revenge. It was about something far deeper. It was about the truth. The kind of truth that exposes everything. The lies, the manipulations, the hidden motives, and forces you to confront what you've become in the process. It's a truth that no one can escape, no matter how hard they try. As the dust continues to settle, it becomes clear. The road ahead isn't just about moving forward. It's about reckoning with the past, with the mistakes, the betrayals, the broken promises, and with the pieces of your soul that you've sacrificed along the way. For some, the burden of these choices will be too much to bear. For others, it will be a catalyst, a chance to finally redefine who they are in a world that's been shattered and rebuilt from the ground up. But one thing is certain, nothing will ever be the same. The world they knew is gone, replaced by something new, something raw and unfinished. And for those who remain, the question now is simple. Can they rebuild? Can they forgive? And most importantly, can they find a way to move forward even as they carry the weight of everything that has come before? The aftermath isn't just about dealing with what's left. It's about finding a way to live with the ghosts of the past while forging a future that is entirely unknown. In the end, more to the story. Season 5, Episode 2 is not just a story of power, deception, and survival. It's a story about transformation. The transformation that comes when everything you thought you knew is stripped away and you're left to confront the truth, no matter how painful. It's about rising from the ashes of the old world and stepping into a new reality. One thing is clear, the story is far from over. And for those who dare to face what comes next, the journey has only just begun. The world may have been shattered, but the journey doesn't end in ruins. It begins in them. In the ashes of everything that's been lost, there lies a chance for something new to emerge, something unexpected, redemption. The question, though, is whether the survivors are willing to grasp it. After everything they've been through, after the betrayals, the lies, and the brokenness, can anyone truly change? Can they pick up the pieces of their own souls and rebuild something worth saving? The answer is buried in the choices they make from here on out. But redemption isn't easy. It's not about wiping the slate clean with a single gesture. It's about owning your mistakes, acknowledging the wreckage you've caused, and deciding, despite it all, to walk a different path. For some, that path is almost impossible to imagine. The weight of guilt and regret is too heavy to bear, and the ghosts of the past have a way of haunting you at every turn. The ones who've hurt the most are often the ones who struggle the hardest to forgive. Not just others, but themselves. Can they look at the people they've wronged and find a way to make amends? Or will they walk away, letting the past define them forever? For others, redemption comes in a more subtle form. It's not about grand gestures or sweeping changes. It's in the small moments, the quiet decisions, the times when they choose to do the right thing, even when it's not easy. The moments when they choose honesty over manipulation, loyalty over self-interest. It's these tiny acts that start to build a new reality, a new foundation on which to rebuild what's been lost. Redemption, in this case, isn't something they can claim all at once. It's something they have to earn piece by piece, day by day. Yet redemption isn't just a personal journey. It's a collective one. Because even though the world has been fractured, the truth remains undeniable. No one is truly free unless they're willing to face their past together. The survivors of this broken world now have to ask themselves the hardest question. Can they rebuild the bonds that were shattered? Can they find a way to forgive each other, and perhaps even themselves? And if they do, what will they build from the wreckage? Can they find strength and unity again, or is the damage too great to repair? The road to redemption is long and fraught with challenges. There will be moments where it feels easier to fall back into old habits, where the pull of the past is too strong to resist. But each decision, each step toward healing, has the power to create a ripple effect that could change everything. The survivors now face a world that's been completely upended, a world where everything they once believed in has been called into question. But in the midst of the destruction, there lies an opportunity to create something far more meaningful. To forge a new path, one where the mistakes of the past are not buried, but understood, and the lessons learned from those mistakes shape a future that's more authentic, more real. What remains now is not just a story of survival, but one of rebirth. And as they move forward, the question remains, will they have the strength to heal? Will they dare to forgive? The answers lie ahead, in the choices they make from this point forward. And while redemption may seem out of reach, the truth is this: it's never too late to begin again. Even in the darkest of times, there's always a flicker of light. It's time to find it. The dust from the battle has settled, but the air is still thick with the tension of what's to come. What once seemed like a broken world now stands on the precipice of something entirely new. The survivors, changed by the chaos and scarred by the decisions they've made, are standing at the edge of a fresh chapter. The old rules no longer apply. The game has evolved. But the question remains, who will rise to lead this new era, and who will be left behind in the wreckage of the past? The first whispers of hope are cautious, fragile. It's tempting to want to believe that the worst is behind them, that the scars of the past will fade with time. But the truth is, the damage runs deep. Trust isn't something that can be easily rebuilt, and the relationships that were once the pillars of their world now feel like fragile glass. Still, there's an undeniable sense of something brewing beneath the surface. The survivors know they can't go back to how things were, not after everything that's happened. They've seen the depths of betrayal, felt the sting of loss, and learned that power can be as corrupting as it is fleeting. But in this new reality, they find themselves confronted by a choice: continue on the path of destruction, where every move is a struggle for survival, or dare to forge something different, something better. For those who dare to choose the latter, the road ahead is uncertain. It's not enough to simply survive. It's about rebuilding with intention, crafting a world where the mistakes of the past aren't repeated, but learned from. The leaders, the ones who once sat atop their thrones of power, now face a new kind of challenge. They have to prove they've changed, that they've learned from their past, and that they can lead with wisdom, not fear. But can they? Or is it too late to redeem themselves in the eyes of those they've wronged? This is where the true test begins. It's not just about fixing what's broken. It's about creating something new from the rubble. It's about crafting a society that no longer relies on manipulation, power, and deceit, but values honesty, trust, and collaboration. It's a daunting task, and one that will require every ounce of strength they have left. But there's something in the air now, something in the eyes of those who've endured the worst of the storm. It's hope, though a fragile one, that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for a new beginning. But the challenge is massive. Rebuilding won't be a simple process. It will be filled with stumbles, setbacks, and moments where they'll be tempted to fall back into their old ways. And the pressure is only mounting. The old forces that once controlled everything are not easily vanquished. There are those who see the crumbled remains of the old world as an opportunity for personal gain, for rising to power once again. The battle for control is far from over, and for some, it may be too much to resist. But if there's anything this journey has taught them, it's that nothing is guaranteed. Not power, not loyalty, not even survival. As the dust continues to settle and the survivors begin to chart their course, they understand that the future is theirs to shape. But the road ahead is fraught with obstacles, challenges that will test their resolve, their beliefs, and their strength.